Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to today's live video. We are here. I am reading charts today, and it is going to be so much fun. And today is a special live. As some of you may know, I do go on and we do live readings, and we do this quite often. But today we are doing a special, and the special is that there is $10 off of what it normally is. I wanted to do something fun today. I want to do it because it's the first weekend of the month. I don't know if we'll do another one of these or not. It depends on how it goes, but I think it should be super fun. So if you've never done this before, what we do is, well, the first thing you want to do, no matter what, is make sure your video, when you jump on, is at the current time, especially if you're here on Saturday for the live, because sometimes what happens is people jump on and they book their reading, but their live is like 30 minutes after where I'm at, and then they end up not being able to get the reading they want. So that is that. And we do have one person already booked. There's a link in the chat where you can book the reading. That you click it and you follow the steps. The readings are done in the order that they are received. And I think that's everything I can tell you about that. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Okay, that's good. Let's change this a little bit. And okay, how about that? Okay. So, like I said, we're doing live readings. There's 3 types of live readings you can choose from. You can choose from natal, transits, or lunar return. You are allowed to book more than one. If you choose natal, that's going to be about your chart. We're going to look at you and the patterns, the trends, the emotions, the things that are important or significant about your life. And I'm just going to do what kind of jumps out at me if you do natal. If you do transits, you're going to get the current energies, what's changing, what's moving, the big energetic themes, what's happening, how the planets are influencing you at this time. If you do lunar return, you're going to get an energy snapshot of the 28-day cycle you're in. And since this is the 28-day cycle is unique to you, that means that it's your personal 28-day cycle. So it doesn't start at the beginning of the month. It has its own unique timing. So that all being said, is Alexandra here? One person has booked. That is Alexandra. And I know I have your chart already. You're choosing transits. Let me know, Alexandra, if you're here. Let me know in the chat. I don't see anyone in the chat. Are you guys here? I see you guys. So someone please say hello so I know we're good and we're live and everything's going. And let us know what transit you are looking forward to the most right now. Is it Mercury going direct? Is it Mars coming out of shadow? Is it Venus going direct? Is it the whole transit that's already happened of Neptune going into Aries? Is there something else this year that you heard about that you're like really excited about? That there is something weird, you guys. There's a weird shadow. It's driving me insane. I don't know why. Yeah, I can't get rid of it. It's just, it looks so bad though. Okay. We're just gonna have to deal with it. I don't know what it is. I was live yesterday in this same spot. Oh, maybe it's this. Hold on. That's what I did differently. Still doesn't fix it. What is this? The top of my glasses? Oh, it's driving me nuts. It makes me look like 20 years older. Oh, Okay, anyways, I just got sidetracked. Okay, tomato soup is here. You're not Alexandra though. Thank you for saying hello. Alexander, are you here? Please let me know. I hate reading when the person's not there and then they come in later and I can do it, but if you're here, feel free to just chat in the chat box so I know. And for everyone else jumping on, you can still get a reading. There are many available today. It's a special day. There is a discount. You can get $10 off, and it's just kind of a special thing I wanted to do because it's the first weekend of the month. And what I was saying before this was let us know if there's a certain transit you're looking forward to right now coming up in the astrology, just to get, oh, you are Alexandra? What? How did I not remember that? Because I feel like I should remember that. Um, damn, sorry. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you for being the first one to book. It always kind of brings up the vibe and gets other people booking, so that's always awesome. And I know I have your chart, so I'm gonna just pull it up and you're gonna get 7 minutes. And you chose transits, didn't you? Yes. Okay, so we're gonna do 7 minutes of transits for Alexandra. For some reason, I thought we do, I remember your name. Did you do the Voxer readings a long time ago? Is that where I remember your name from? I know there's something I should remember about you. But I'm gonna put, hopefully, now I'm gonna put your name with your tomato soup name. I I'm it's the hardest thing. I'm gonna be real about what I do is putting the YouTube name with the real person. I swear I'll probably never get that, but um here we go. I have your chart up. I'm gonna pull up the transits. I'm gonna set the timer and you're gonna be the first and it's gonna be so much fun. I just feel like what better to do on a Saturday than get an astrology reading? Like, what could be better? Oops. Oh man. I can't even do the timer. Hold on. You have to be smarter than the object. Okay. I'm pulling your chart back up. And then we will go from there. Okay. Um, your chart is up. We have your transits up. You're in the chat. No problem. Yes. Okay, cool. Thanks for being so cool about that. And here we go. So, what I see for transits, the first thing that kind of jumps out is that Neptune has moved into Aries, which is now trine your natal Jupiter. And so you may find that Jupiter ruled things in your life have a more Neptune feel. So I'll talk about what that might look like. Now, this happened, gosh, was this last week? It was really recent. Okay, so I'll tell you the day and you can think about the 30th. So the 30th of March. And let's make sure, yeah. So the 30th of March, and Jupiter for you rules your fifth house of creativity. There's more there, but okay, your fifth house of creativity, self-expression, and kind of what you're like creating in the world, hobbies, creative activities, but also that whole like whatever you're birthing into life, whatever you're creating in life has a more Neptunian feel. So one of the good sides of this is if you do anything creative like with art or with aesthetics or with music or anything that has a vibe to it, anything that dance, any kind of thing like that that has that you get in the flow of, and whether it's for money or not. Thank you. That's going to be that Neptune trining over to Jupiter is going to make the creation of art more easier to get in that flow state. Definitely, even if what you like to do is journal, you know what I mean? It'll just be easier to get into a flow with those kind of creative activities. So highly recommend going all in on those things, especially if that's something you already do. If you already dance or you already do anything like that, highly recommend that. Okay, Neptune can make your feelings, though, about whatever you are creating in life, you can doubt it more. Okay, so I'm just going to see if it gets to 2 degrees before it retrogrades this year. It will retrograde right at 2 degrees and 10 minutes. That's not quite your Jupiter. So this will actually hit you more next year, but it might be a subtle energy going on the whole time. Another thing Neptune might do now that it's in your 6th house is make you feel like you lose track of time, or again, that flow state. Feel free to expand on this if you want to. That flow state, that feeling of like I'm going with the flow, I'm just absorbed in what I'm doing and I'm not thinking about what time it is. That can be a beautiful thing, unless you need to get places and shit. So, really good for creative artistry. Not so good for being on time. You might have to start setting timers for things that you normally used to just know when to do. But that's doable. You know what I mean? I think Neptune going into the 6th is probably not going to be, I wouldn't predict this being a challenging transit for you. I really wouldn't. So let's move on to another planet though, because we have all the other planets. Well, Mars is going to come out of retrograde, and this one might have really affected you because it was in your 10th house and 9th house. And also for you, Mars rules your 6th house of, again, how you spend your time. That's what we're looking at, what you're doing, what you're spending your time doing, how much of it is wasted if you feel like that, or how much of it is productive, whatever you feel. And, also you're a Scorpio rising, so Mars is you. So if you have felt sluggish or like you're just not really going forward clearly, or you need to reevaluate some shit since like December, you're right on track for that. I have a spreadsheet that tells me when Mars goes out of retrograde that I made. So I need to consult it. February, no, Mars leaves shadow May 3rd. So we have about one more month of almost getting going. So that's one of the trends to just know about, is that because you're Scorpio rising, Mars in Cancer, still in shadow, is going to be like, maybe you're starting to wake up again. It almost could have felt like a slight layer of hibernation mode for the last few months of questioning what is meaningful in your career, in your life, and what the next meaningful direction to go is. You also have Uranus conjunct the sun right now. That's a big transit. Okay, let's go back in time. I don't know if we've done a reading recently enough to have talked about this. So February 5th, just 2 months ago, Uranus hit that sun. And so what does that do? It activates your identity. It activates a change in your life, and probably a career change. Since it also is close enough to be aspecting the midheaven, probably a change of your job. Did you end a job or start one around this time? If yes, I'm thinking, this could have been part of a larger cycle of starts and stops in career that would have begun close to May of 2024-ish. That's my quick guess on that, just because of how the planets move. And I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to just do a little bit of a future projection here to see, does Uranus hit the sun again when it retrogrades the next time? I don't think it's going to travel that far, but let's just see. No. So whatever this is that Uranus is activated, it's not like it's all over yet, but those big hits of change, of unexpected change in career or life direction, career change. Is that what happened? Those aren't going to happen like that again. Uranus will never hit your sun, will never conjunct your sun again in your whole life. And it will take a very long time before it even squares it. So, yeah. So, what's my point? Just go with the flow. Just if you want freedom in career and stuff, now is the time to really embrace whatever you would need to do to create that. Because what happens when Uranus activates the sun, sometimes it'll just be an external change. Your job is different. Bam. That's it. But sometimes Uranus will create this desire for freedom inside of us of like, and it what you do with a Uranus transit like this is you listen to the part of you that says, I don't like this job, I don't want to be stuck in this situation forever, blah 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 blah. You don't necessarily have to act on it right away. A lot of us don't have the ability to do it. Okay, career change. You're in a creative field right now. Perfect. So this would be a time where like freelancing and things like that really would make a lot of sense for you just based on all of this, all of these transits. And I'm going to just go to the next. You do have Jupiter making a sextile to your midheaven. So I would say if you're like, when would I have the next little bout of career growth? I would say we're looking at end of April, early May of this year. This is not life changing. It's a sextile, but it does feel like maybe other people, relying on other people, sharing on other people, sharing with other people, working with other people might be supportive to the career. Intimate relationships, deep connections, working with someone on psychological stuff, working on your own, on any kind of psychological healing, whatever that means to you, can support the career. Or even taking a grant or a loan. So if it's possible to get like a small business loan or something, or a small business grant or something, that might be like someone invests into you kind of a thing. So this would be the next chance, I would say, and that's really soon, and that's why I'm bringing it up for that energy. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but our timer did go off, so I'm going to stop there. But yeah, I think that Neptune influence I don't see that hurting you. I see that supporting the flow state of creativity. And I also see Saturn right now in the fifth helping you stay committed to your creative work. And just know Saturn's going to leave that fifth house. And so it's interesting. I'm going to finish on this statement here. Saturn is going to go back and forth. So is Neptune this year. So they're not fully, Saturn will enter Aries and then it'll come back and then it'll enter it again next year. But the point is, Saturn in the fifth allows you, what it helps with is stabilizing the creative work, stabilizing the creative work, creative output into life. And also, so that means you can be more disciplined in this area. It might go more slowly right now, but it's like whatever stuff you're doing to work on your creative passion, creative work in a creative field is going to be more like you can set yourself up with the foundation right now. You can do the work that it takes to create that session that I was reading the comment, that stabilized foundation to rely on the creative stuff down the road. And then I do see there's more we could talk about if you ever want to do a next one about what Saturn will do in this sixth house and how that like relates to the Saturn cycle. We could talk about how it is currently a Saturn opposition for you. We could talk about, we could talk a little more. Mars in the 10th is just going to bring more activity to your career. And it's probably going to feel like things are moving again in May. Like, okay, now we're going forward again, in general. And I'm going to stop there just because of time. It was so lovely reading your chart. Thank you for not only booking, but being the first one. That always is awesome. And I hope to see you again in another video. Okay, so we are going to look at who's next. Anita, I see you. I see your comment here, and thank you for booking, and thank you for also commenting. And I'm going to take down Alexandra's chart and then put up yours. And then anyone else who books next will be next. So I'm going to put up our little explanation. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Okay, our little spiel. And then here we go with Anita. I think I've worked with you as well before. The name is familiar. Yes. Okay, and Anita, you are asking for. Oh, I'm gonna check on your little. I have you as Essendon. Is that gonna work? Mooney? Yeah, Essendon. Okay, it works. I just saw your comment. Mm, 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 mm. Just double checking. Yeah, everything's good for that. And oh, let's see what you asked for. Transits. Okay, good. We can do transits. Okay, I'm just about to pull up the chart, Anita, and then you'll get your 7 minutes. Hmm. All right, here we are. So I'm going to do this. And for transits, let me just see what's going on here. We have lots of stuff, lots of little things going on here for you. Let's start with Jupiter Moon, because that's one of my favorite transits, and because it's favorable. So I love it when I get to tell you guys about these good ones. Jupiter hitting your moon in the fourth house. And I'm going to just go backwards to when this was exact. The last time that would have been mid March. So just the last few weeks here. Jupiter hitting the moon. This is going to expand things related to home, to what makes you feel comfortable, to what makes you feel safe, Jupiter moon is like our blessings related to our comfort, our safety, our feeling of belonging. So it's possible around mid-month last month, some things were happening that made you feel belonging. Now, because the fourth house rules our emotional foundations as well, this can also be our feeling of being safe in our body, our nervous system, but also like just having some kind of healing of any kind, having some kind of emotional release or something like that. But it might be a little bit more on the fun side. It might be more like the best game night ever at your house, or, having friends over, having a significant other over, or being at their house and just being cozy with someone, right? So there's a lot of possibilities here of what good things Jupiter moon is bringing, but it also relates to the fifth house of creativity. If you're self-employed, it relates to self-employment. If you're not, it's not that. But it's also like gambling, risk, having fun, pleasure. So maybe just enjoying your time, enjoying your life, doing things that make you feel good, eating the best food around mid-month last month. Now, this aspect is separating, which means it's going bye-bye. So you want to enjoy it while you can. You're still going to have the influence of Jupiter in the same sign as your moon until early June this year. So you've got a couple more months here. And yeah, another signification here that would be strong, and I'm not saying it has to be this, but sometimes Jupiter moon is pregnancy. So if you're not wanting that, then just be aware. It doesn't always do that though, right? So Jupiter can go past someone's moon and they won't get pregnant, but for you, because it's your fifth house, timing wise, it's just the possibility here is pretty high for that. Um, I was reconnecting with family. I helped paint my parents' lounge room. Oh, that makes so much sense. How wonderful. Yeah. So, that influence of just connection and belonging is still there. So you can still, cash in on that a little bit. But what I'm also noticing while there's really nice transits here is that you've also got Saturn conjunct Mercury in the first house and Mercury ruling that fourth house, Mercury ruling the seventh house, which might make relationships more serious. This could just be working, like you said, you helped paint your parents a room in their house. It's like that would be in alignment with this because it's like taking on some kind of responsibility for others. And that theme is probably going to continue. You might just have a lot of work going on. You might just have a lot to do. Oftentimes when Saturn's just in your first house, you're doing more things you don't want to do. You're doing more things that are responsibilities and you're doing less things that you just would love to do and have freedom to do. At the same time, with Mars going through your fifth house, you might be doing both. You might be working hard and playing hard and having just a lot of, kind of being stretched in a few directions. This doesn't feel like a bad thing to me. It does feel like this will continue through, I'll tell you when. Just that Saturn influence of heavy responsibility or just a lot to do or feeling really aware. You can feel really aware of time and how much time you have left and how old everyone is getting. Those kind of things can happen when you're in a Saturn transit. No big deal. But that Saturn influence of seriousness could have also affected your parents in a way, right? Because Mercury does rule your parents. So when Saturn hits the sign that rules your family, it's like maybe they are living with less money at the moment, or, maybe they are working hard on something at the moment, that kind of thing. Either way, Saturn is going to leave this house in the end of May. And that's not forever, but it is until, let's just see when that's until, I think November-ish. No, September. Until September. And then you're going to see that again. Because Saturn hits Mercury and then the ascendant and then the sun is just like bam, bam, bam. Especially Saturn Sun is the one that I'm the most concerned about. When Saturn hits Mercury, you can just be more pensive and more serious in your thoughts. That's not really that big of a deal. It could be you have things you got to think about that are serious. You're making plans, you're planning for retirement, or you're like reading thick novels or like instruction manuals and shit. And yeah, okay, yeah. So we'll talk more about this. So that's kind of what that can be. It can just make the Mercury area of life slower. That's going to be your own, still your family, right? It'll always be your family, but it's also your house. So if you're like trying to renovate or something, Saturn's like, not right now. Or if you do it right now, it's going to be first, you got to take the floor out. Then it's like those processes that you cannot rush. That could relate to your physical home. It could relate to your family relationships. Again, might just require more sacrifice from you right now. I'm not as worried about Saturn hitting Mercury as I am about it. On the ascendant, it's really going to just be maybe you take on a new job or you do something else like that that's like, okay, I have to pay off this debt. I need to figure out how to do it. Or something else that has that energy around it of, I have to step up to this responsibility. And sometimes those moments are just fine when we're adults and we're like, okay, I just got to do this. And they're not so heavy and hard. Unless it's a responsibility you do not want, then it's like, man, it does kind of suck sometimes. Saturn hitting the ascendant can also be, again, you're aware of time. You're aware of whether things are good enough. You're aware of how much time you have to do things. You might feel like you don't have enough time and you have to only do the things that you have enough time for. And I do think it's kind of lucky that it just hits your ascendant and gets right out of the sign, because it's like, so the planets move faster or slower. It's moving just fine here. By the next month it's off. And it's so basically we're looking at for you May 2025 being like a kind of a heavy Saturn transit. Now, when Saturn hits your sun, this is the one I'd be more concerned about, although you'll be fine. But here's what can happen. You can feel really hard on yourself because the sun is your light. It is your ability to look on the bright side. It's part of our optimism. It's part of our looking forward, looking ahead in life. It's the part of us that trusts that the sun will come out again, right? So it's like part of part of our feeling that things are possible is our sun sign. And so when Saturn hits that, we start feeling like things aren't possible, or we start being more aware of what's not possible. It's like that the light in us has a little blanket on it for that. It's like we become Eeyore just during that time, right? Where it's like you're just down. You're down on yourself a little bit more than you normally would be. You're more aware of ways you haven't measured up or ways you feel you haven't measured up. And it's not an easy one, but for you, this will be quick. So that's the good side. And the way to work with it is just to kind of know it's temporary. And it might affect you harsh. It might affect you just a little, but you have Sun square Neptune, which makes me feel like maybe Saturn will stabilize you a bit, because Sun Neptune is generally like super go with the flow, vibey, and like we're just gonna work with it. We'll just, figure it out. You have a very much of a chart of someone who's like, I'll just figure it out. It's gonna be okay. And I love this. I love this. Because it's like going with the flow is probably a strong, what's the word I'm looking for? A good thing about you, a good trait. Sun Neptune is also very creative, imaginative. In Pisces, and Jupiter, just super like aware of universal energies, which, by the way, your midheaven is conjunct the galactic center. That's something we could talk about in a future reading if I haven't told you about that. But the point I'm trying to make here is Saturn Sun might just stabilize you. You might be like, I have this creative project I'm trying to do, or you might be like, oh, I've been spaced out a little bit, wasting time. I got to stop doing that. I can't eat ice cream and binge watch Netflix for anymore. It could be something like that, but it kind of just depends on what's been going on. But what it is this Pisces energy of I just want to let things come to me and go with the flow, versus this Sagittarius energy of let's actually set a goal and a target and be inspired and want to be somewhere else that we're not. And this part of you that might sometimes fight with each other. And then the Gemini side is like, we just want to talk about everything. We just want to know all the things. So there's this not disconnection. There's this inner tension here between, do I want to learn everything where I'm at and just be fine where I'm at? Or do I want to launch another rocket into the universe of what I want to achieve? And Saturn's here being like kind of putting the brakes on a lot of things for the moment. So I don't think this is going to be as bad as I'm making it sound. Because it moves, like it's there and then a week later it moves. So, I mean, you have a little month of serious shit you got to deal with is basically what I would predict. And then when Saturn goes in the second house, there might be at some point during this transit a cutback into something financially. But I don't think that will happen in May. What else can I say? For you, the sun rules your sixth house. So what I think will happen here is maybe it really is you'll just have no time, because Saturn has like a blocking energy, and this sixth house is your time. It's also the work that you do. So you might just have to work more, right? Because Saturn's also going to be squaring your midheaven at the same time. Saturn's a little more, Saturn with the midheaven is just like what you want to accomplish in your job takes longer. So maybe almost like overtime because your job changed their computer system, for example, and now it takes longer. Something like that where there's a slowing of the energy. And maybe if you're trying to do some creative projects with your work, Saturn here might also make it so you want to do 17 things, but you have to pick one. That kind of thing, especially with Jupiter in the fourth. You're going to want it in the Gemini, I mean, that ruling your midheaven. You're going to want to do a million things in your career right now, but you might only be able to do the one thing or focus in on the one thing. So let's see what you're saying here. I relate to feeling like I need to be more disciplined. Yeah, my dad reported feeling tired. This is rare for him. Yeah, okay, that does make sense. That does track. And the thing is that what I like about this though is that, like I said, Saturn's going to move past all that stuff pretty quickly. It'll come back later, but you'll already have felt it by then, so you'll know what to do. And just don't be worried if you start feeling really aware of like, okay, I need to be more responsible with this, and this, and here's where I'm at, here's where I wanted to be, and here are my goals, and let's get real about this. Let's see, face and see all the ways I didn't reach my goals. What's the reason? Don't be afraid to have that kind of conversation with yourself during this transit, because that's the best thing you can actually do in a Saturn transit is be willing to kind of look at that stuff. So I'm going to stop there just because of time. And we're going to go into our next person. We have Solara. Solara, do you want to let me know in a comment that you are here? I always like to see that if you want to. And then thank you to Anita for booking. And I hope you enjoyed your reading. All right, so Solara is asking for natal chart. And I don't know if I've done your chart before, so let me see if I can see you in here. Oh, I need to turn this off first. Solara's here. Hey, okay, cool. Okay, I'm doing it now. I don't think I have you know. Okay. That's fine. I can just put you in. How is everyone feeling today? I've been saying this on every video, but damn, Aries season gets me all happy. Gets me all like ready to go, like ready to accomplish shit. Da, 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 da. Why is it not? Isn't that California? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, here we go. We've got your chart up. And let me check. Yes, natal. Okay, we're going to do natal. So I'm going to just tell you what I see. This Jupiter Saturn conjunction in the second's kind of prominent, right? So it's like, this is interesting because it makes you feel like it's almost like sometimes you'll be like, there's always enough money, it'll be okay, and then it is. And then other times you're going to be like, there's never enough money. I have to save. Saturn in the second will make you tend towards saving. Jupiter in the second will make you tend toward spending, but then also believing it's going to be okay, and then it is. And then Pluto in the second will make you kind of desire the ultimate wealth long term. I think this probably shows up as you saving up for big purchases and then splurging. Let me know if you relate to that. Now you do have Venus. I don't know why I'm just telling you about money. It's just what's jumping out. You have Venus in Taurus, which is where it's exaltation, and Venus rules your second house of money, which means if you want to make money, you can. If you've ever struggled financially and you're like, how do I get out of that? You have the ability where when you have a strong Venus here to figure it out. It doesn't mean bad things don't happen to you financially like everyone else, but that you can bounce back. Okay, you can bounce back. But the sun here, what it does is it makes it so that if you've ever heard of planets being combust or like burned up by the sun, just don't worry about that with your Venus. The reason is Venus is in its home sign, so it's stronger against the sun if the sun was going to hurt it. If it did, what it would do is it would make your desire for money something that is something that you feel strongly, but someone else who knows you it wouldn't be how they would describe you, but it's a part of you that is like people don't necessarily see. Okay, what else can I say here? What else do I see? I mean, you have a very nice trine between the sun and the moon. This is always a very good aspect to see in the chart because it means your wants and your needs are in sync with each other. So when you're trying to accomplish something or you're going out in the world, it's like you're going to gravitate toward the things that are good for you in general. Okay. You're not going to be someone who's like, I had an interview at 6 a.m. And I stayed up till 2. You know what I mean? You'll be able to align what you want in life and what you want to accomplish with what you need to do to accomplish it. So that's always a really nice thing to see. And it's even nicer that it's in the same element as your rising because that's like just a super compatible thing. Yeah, saver and a splurger. Yeah. Okay, cool. That was spot on. Awesome. Let me see what else. You do have a strong Mars in the eighth. Strong Mars means you can go after what you want. You have a strong chart for someone who can go after what they want, which is awesome. Sometimes people want stuff, but then they're like, how do I do it? Mars in the eighth is going to be good at that. But it's a strong Mars, so Mars problems are like sometimes I don't think you're going to have Mars problems because you have a strong Mars and a strong Venus. So you'll be able to go after what you want and then be nice to the person while you're doing it. Sometimes people with too strong of a Mars, they're going to offend people and be like, oh shit, oops. If that's you, you're going to offend them and then you're going to make it better because you'll be able to charm them. It's a fact. Okay, your strong Mars is trying Neptune though. So what that means is that you'll start going after something that you want and you'll get distracted easily. You'll have a lot of energy when you start and then you'll just meander off to something else. So I get the metaphor of like, let's say you're going to a farmer's market because you want to get a specific kind of an agate. And then you're going to the rings and then you look at them and stuff, but then there's a food truck and then there's live music and then there's this might not be how everything goes in your life, but you'll find that you have more likelihood of accomplishing things if you just do it in the moment than if you try to plan it or make yourself disciplined. It's not you're undisciplined. It's just that what happens with Mars and Aries is you get a shitload of energy and then it just tanks. So you just go with those energy things. you just go with your energy spikes. I mean, I'm not making sense. Let me make it make sense. And then you just let it be okay when it tanks because it'll just come back again. With Neptune, I think that just kind of makes it maybe harder to navigate for you. And it also means like trust, areas that require trust in other people. Trusting, right? Because you have Virgo rising, they usually have to themselves because Mars rules their eighth house, and they don't want you telling them what to do to change. So like in this, like, this is a reading you've initiated, but if someone is just coming up to you telling you you need to change this, you need to change that, that's probably not going to go over so well because you want to initiate how you transform. You want to independently decide those things. And with Mars in the eighth, that's even stronger. And Mars here, I will speak to one of the misconceptions about Mars in the eighth is people will say it means death. So that's kind of a misconception because the eighth house is actually your connection to other people. So if it does relate to the topic of death, usually what it is that when someone's dog dies, they're going to call you because people with challenging planets, either Mars, Saturn, or Pluto in the eighth house, can handle other people's crises a little bit better. And so sometimes people will come to you when they're in crisis. They'll call you when they're having something bad happen. And because they know you can kind of handle it, you're going to be stable and grounded and not flip out about it. Okay. And you probably give really solid advice too with all this earth here. I feel like I want to see something else here. What can I see that's like unique and interesting and let's see what else. That was the timer, but I do want to okay, let's talk about the moon in Capricorn because the moon always matters. The moon is in Capricorn, which sometimes gets a bad rap. And the reason it gets a bad rap is because people with the moon in Capricorn usually don't like being vulnerable. I don't think this moon, even though people will say it's like it's not well placed if you're looking at, traditional astrology. But the reason it's not well placed is because it's not good at vulnerability. So people with the moon in Capricorn, in relationships especially, are not going to be all warm and fuzzy and be like, I had a feeling. They just don't want to do that. And so what happens is it's better if you have a partner who isn't super crazy emotional because they can be emotional, but if they're demanding that you be telling them all your feelings all the time, it's like moon in Capricorn doesn't always want to do that. So I think this moon is actually really, really good at doing things like making sacrifices, at doing things like being able to go without food or stay up late a little bit or set aside your personal comforts to reach goals. I think that it's really, really good at that. And it's making positive aspect to the sun, Venus, and Mercury. So really, really good for like loving creativity and that providing meaning and direction in life. It might not be your job. It might, because you do have, you have the 10th ruler and the 9th. So it's like, if you want to do spiritual work or work with higher education or teach or like do readings or be an astrologer or, spiritual teacher type stuff or travel and teach English in another country, all of those things feel very much highlighted. And, Mercury in the 9th already is just like the love of knowledge that's grounding and soothing and healing. And then the moon in the 5th is like caring about creativity and self-expression and caring about not expressing the emotional vulnerabilities, but just like being who you are. And sometimes having your own business can be moon in the 5th because like this is what you care about. If you have kids, it's your kids. And if you do have kids, you can intuitively know what your kids need. With moon in the 5th, And your kids are like your heart and soul. You know, they're just so important to you. If you don't have kids, you'll probably have a creative project or a business that is like your heart and soul that you just love. Um, okay, yeah, I don't do the degrees, like critical degrees. But yeah, I mean, this sun moon combo is so good. It's so good for like getting things done. Um, and again, like being able to accomplish what you set out to is super, super, like super high in your chart. So I wonder, would you describe yourself as someone who can, like, if you want to do something, do you feel like you always can do it? I would love to hear if that feels true to you. Yeah, I think we'll stop there just because of time. The timer went off a while ago. But thank you so much for booking, and feel free to share in the comments if there's anything else you want to share about that. All right, so hi everybody. Thank you, Robin, for helping people out in the chat. Hello. And yeah, I think I'm all pretty much caught up on the messages. There is a link in the top of the pin to the top of the chat where you guys can book today. Today is a special day. I did these readings at a $10 off price, so it's a lot lower than it normally is. And I don't know if I'll be doing these very often. I don't know if I'll do this again. So it's a good idea to get it now if you want to. And bookings are open. So we had 3 people so far, and you could be next. We have 3 types of readings. We have Natal, which is going to be what makes you tick, all about you. We have Transit, which is going to be what's happening now. And then we have Natal, Transit, and then we have Lunar Return, which is a 28-day snapshot of the energy. So those are the options, and that is what we're doing. I'm just gonna chill for a minute and have more coffee. All right. All right, so I'm going to, I think now since we have plenty of people here, now is a good time to show you guys how to do it. For anyone else who wants to, actually, never mind, because someone just booked. So Chantel, do you want to share who you are in the chat so I know who you are? I'm going to go ahead and add you. I like, Robin, I like drip coffee with cream, no sugar. Or sometimes I'll get espresso. I'll get like an iced espresso with cream. So yeah, that's something I love. Okay, so you want to do the lunar return. Chantel, I'm just putting this in now. Actually, maybe I have you in here. Yes, I do. Okay, cool. And we'll have to see when your lunar return started and decide. It started on the, okay, so from the 13th to the 9th. So that ends in about 4 days. So we should do the one starting on the 9th and then goes till the 7th of May. Does that make sense? So we're doing April 9th to May 7th. And then I'm just going to put your chart back up here. Maybe if I can do it. Yes. Okay, so this is the chart of your lunar return. So, okay, hey Chantel. Um, so it's not going to look like your natal chart, first of all. But again, yeah, it's starting April 9th and going until May 7th. And I kind of do want to just like go over what you're coming out of because last month was Saturn's sun. So if it felt slow, sluggish, or just like a harder month than normal, a little bit more stretched than the normal, I think that energy is probably going to shift around the 9th because it's not going to be a Saturn sun chart anymore. So just know that. So first thing is the moon in the 11th. You might be focusing on community and friends and who you're around. This could be friends or audience or just coworkers, any groups of people that you're dealing with. So groups of people is a theme. If you do any kind of creative work, you might be dealing with the energies of stepping into the mode of creation versus stepping into the mode of editing the creation for public consumption. So it's like that phrase that they say in writing, kill your darlings, where you might be having to edit some kind of personally created thing or a way of speaking or a way of doing things or your perfume or something else that's like the idea is that it's supposed to be nice, but maybe someone at your workplace hates your perfume, so you have to stop wearing it. Or maybe there's something else that's a little more less specific than that, where it's like your way of being creative or your way of experiencing pleasure is not what the group wants. So maybe it's like with your friends, you're watching movies you don't like as much, and then you watch the ones you really like when you're by yourself at home, right? It could be anything like that with that energy, but there is definitely going to be a focus on feeling like you're going all into caretaking others or being there for your friends or being an emotional support to a group of people. Maybe even like setting aside with the South Node in the 11th in this chart, setting aside your own desires and being in monk mode in a group setting in some way, just showing up as the one who can support others and not thinking about the self, and then like going to the other extreme of like pleasure or even like I know pleasure is a very broad topic, but doing things that you enjoy in an isolated way because for whatever reason the group you can't really do that in the group at the moment. So now if you're not in a bunch of groups right now, then this moon in the 11th can just be your desire to almost like fit yourself into the group versus your desire to just be whoever the fuck you want to be. And like arguing maybe with those two energies or going back and forth and having dealing with three or more people that you have to kind of fit yourself into this group, and then the other side where it's like, okay, I'm by myself or I'm with my really close people. Okay, so then the next thing I see here is the sun in the sixth house. So you might be working on some kind of chore, some kind of work, some kind of something where you're sharpening the axe to get better at a thing. This can be a creative thing, or it can just be a thing that you want to be doing. You might be spending your time, starting the 9th, really focusing on like getting your car cleaned or like, spring cleaning type stuff. Or it could be a time where you just have more dishes to do because you have friends over or something like that. But either way, when we spend time in the sixth house, we're doing chores, we're doing stuff, we're busy, we're like accomplishing things, but it doesn't necessarily, the word accomplish is probably not the right word. We're busy getting stuff done that we just have to do, right? Like taking the dog to the vet or like washing the car, getting it detailed, whatever it is. So there'll be stuff to do this month. And then Jupiter in the eighth means that the blessings for the month are going to come through other people. And that might be getting money from other people. That might be, it might not be money. It might be just advice. especially advice, spiritual advice from other people on how to move forward on your path and your purpose, which you're going to probably be motivated to do, but you might not be able to do. I hate saying that, but it's like the motivation of like, yeah, let me feel like I'm really on the path right now is going to be strong. But the ability to just go for it and go straight after it isn't necessarily as strong. So it's like there's more, it's like when you're hungry and then you can't eat all the food, right? Like you're going to want to go forward doing things that feel meaningful, and you're also going to want to just enjoy yourself. So it's like, I mean, it feels like a good month of like doing some chores, taking care of like some things that you know you're going to need to have done later for more, to set you up to accomplish things in the future, or to set you up to be free in relationships in the future, available, I mean. And then that North Node in the fifth really wants to maybe flirt and meet new people if you're single. If you're not, have fun, enjoy your life, play games, do things you enjoy, get out or stay in, just doing things that you consider fun and engaging and interesting. And let me see what else you might also find that the way your energy goes this month is, just like flat, 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 bam, you get inspired because Uranus and Mars make an aspect. And that means that when inspiration hits, it's going to be in the most inopportune time. It'll just be at 2 a.m. You'll want to write a book or something. So it just, this would be a month I would just kind of go with my natural rhythms. Um, yeah, I would go with my natural rhythms, and I would think that it's even possible for this month that, I don't know, like, because you have that ninth ruler trining Uranus. So it's like spiritual awakening energy, spiritual realization energy, having these aha moments that are totally unexpected kind of energy. So I like that for you. And I think that maybe some of this sixth house stuff you're doing could be spiritual stuff where you're like, it could be, like things that make you feel hopeful every day, watching them or reading them or consuming them, like, almost like finding a new YouTube channel that has like 3-minute videos, and every day you're like, yes, and you feel happier. But also that sun is ruling the 10th house in this chart. So it's like maybe work during the month of April to May, to the beginning of May, is going to be more busy work, filled with stuff to do, and less, I don't want to say less enjoyable, just more like, doing the stuff that needs to be done. Let's say you had a business. Maybe you don't. Let's say you did. This would be like, doing all the paperwork and the taxes and shit. It's like not the fun part, just the part that has to get handled. And maybe if there's a wound coming up this month, I would say it's probably the feeling of not being appreciated, right? Because when the sun is in the sixth with Chiron here, in a natal chart or something, this could be someone who feels like they get stuck at the bottom. But because this is just a monthly energy, it's not going to be that lifetime thing, but you might feel like the work you have to do in your job is less visible. And that doesn't have to be a problem. You might be fine with it, but there could be a little bit of a feeling like, why do I get stuck doing this shitty shit and other people get to do the good stuff, If anything, I would say that might be it. Also, I'm noticing the timer went off, but I want to finish my thoughts here. The sun square Mars, so that means you can have more passion, more excitement, more feeling like you want to get up and do things. But you might argue with yourself about what you're trying to do because the sun is what you want and Mars is how you go about getting it. And they're not agreeing. The sun says, let's just do shit right now and not wait. And Mars is like, but wait, it's going to hurt people's feelings. They're not going to be taken care of. We shouldn't be so impulsive. We should wait. We should do it in a way that feels better. And so you may find that if there's tension around how to proceed, how to move forward with goals this month, then you may find that I don't know what you're going to do here. I think that you'll probably just do something. I think that tension can be best worked out through just doing something. Again, this is not a natal placement, so this is not how you are. And this might actually represent other people. Okay, so it might be the boss is pissing off the other employees at your job. And you're like, I'm not pissed off. What are you guys going to do? It might be something like that where those conflicts are not you. Although since Scorpio's here, you could actually feel like your boss is doing things that are not against you, but just like a pain in your ass. Like, doing things in a way that it's like the opposite of what the employees really need to be taken care of, and you're one of them, or something like that could be going on. Let me see. I'm just gonna check and see if there's anything else that about this one that I'm like, you got to know about this. It's gonna be super important. Let's look at Venus here for a second. Yeah, Venus in the fifth. Again, you might feel like you are not allowed to speak up, self-censoring, needing to, I don't know, just something about being in environments where you can't really speak freely or something might be going on, but you might also be making just some big commitments this next month. So it could go either way, where either that Venus Saturn conjunction is going to be just taking it slowly and seriously, making serious decisions, making commitments, taking on some new responsibility. And it might be your own personal desire. Like, I really want to learn to paint. So I'm going to sign up for that class, that kind of commitment to the self that still requires some effort. It can be something fun like that, where it's creative and you're committing to a creative thing. It could also be just that life in general is just a little bit more serious. And let me think about this. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be bad, right? It could be like going to book studies or, other kind of serious intellectual topics are going to be like at the forefront. That could be another thing that's going on. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the month. And I will say that the good things, if there is, okay, if you're in a relationship or you're dating, I would say the intimacy side of things might be where more of the benefits are going to be this month, of just getting close to people and feeling that, meeting people. It does feel like with Jupiter, Moon, Venus connected here, in a square, even though it's a T square. There might be a lot of focus this month on other people, getting to know people more deeply, understanding them, trusting them, not trusting them, people giving you advice, relying on other people, closeness. Those are all themes. And then if it gets too much, where you feel like there's someone who is getting too close, or they're just too much eighth house energy is going to be like too much reliance on other people, then you want to focus in on what your goals are. Go back to what your goals are, focus in on those. Figure out how to like set aside time just for your own goals. That would be how to work with that if it's an issue. It might not be though. Okay, so that's what I have. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let me know. And we're going to go on to, do we have a next one? Yes. Perfect. Charisse, I see you. Okay, so I have Charisse, and if anyone else wants to book, the bookings are open. Let me put up that little thing. Charisse, you're next. And the bookings are open after that. So anyone who books after that will go in line after Charisse. I need to stretch. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull this off, put you in. Lunar return, perfect. I've been trying to get people to book these because I think they're awesome. Okay, let me see if I have you. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to put you in. That's just fine. All right, so hello to everyone else jumping on. I'm doing Sharice's chart next, and anyone who books after that will be after Sharice. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so this is your natal, but we're going to change it to your lunar return. We'll have to see when it is. Okay, so 3/29 to 4/26. So we'll do that one because it just started within the week. So again, this energy started on the 29th and will last until April 26th. It's different for everyone. Okay. Okay, so we have the moon Venus in the fifth house. I like this. This is great for flirting. Okay, this is great for pleasure. This is great for enjoying yourself, especially with other people. Also, in Aries, like a sense of adventure. You know, with the moon in Aries, that's what you have natally. Venus trine Mars. This is nice. It's good for like going on nice dates and like the thrill of the chase, you know, like going on a motorcycle ride or something, depending on what you're into, you know what I mean? But wait a minute. Ah, shoot. Shoot. I was on the wrong month. Let me start over. It's not going to be that. Shit. I'm sorry, Charisse. I had it on 2 months from now. So just know that that's going to be true 2 months from now in May. You're going to have a good time in May, I think. Um, man, I'm sorry. Let me I'm just going to start your timer now. And then you'll get just your reading will start from right now. Okay, so they're still good things. The sun and the moon in the same sign are just fine in a lunar return because it's kind of like what you want and what you need are going to be more in sync for this month. Them being in the sixth house means that you're going to be really focused on the work you're putting in. That could be how you spend your time. And you might just really want to enjoy your time this month. And starting, you might already be in this energy of like, you could either be working a lot or just wanting to enjoy your time. Time is going to be a key word for the month. How am I spending my time? And probably just the desire to spend your time in ways that uplift you and make you feel good and make you feel happy. Okay, so now Mars in the ninth for this month means that you're going to be more motivated to find purpose, to find meaning, to feel like you're on the path. And, that's going to be a driving force for the month. And it's interesting though, because it's almost like you're going to want to spend your time to move yourself forward in your purpose this month. And that even if it's 1 inch at a time, that's just what you're going to want to keep doing, and that energy is going to be there. So I love seeing that. And Iman, I got you next. Okay, so then we also have Uranus conjunct the descendant, which means probably a surprising event in a relationship. Now, this can be a good surprise, this can be a challenging surprise. Um, Either way, um, definitely relationships are going to be unpredictable. If you are in a long term relationship, it's that. It's probably describing your partner having some sudden thing happen that is unexpected. Um, can you let me know if you already know what this is? If it's not that, could be okay. Let's say you're in a long term relationship. I would like to know actually, Charisse, are you in a long term relationship? Are you single or something else? If it's long term, I would predict that maybe there is a commitment made this month that's like unexpected that you weren't thinking was going to happen. If you're not in a long term relationship, it can't be that, right? It has to be more like maybe a friend has some kind of unexpected thing they have to deal with that is just you didn't see coming. Or you unexpectedly meet someone or someone you've been dating unexpectedly, you guys get a lot closer this month. If you are single and there's no one on the horizon, then this is going to represent the other people in your life, whoever that is. And this can be like, yeah, again, like maybe someone who wasn't a close friend now becomes a close friend, and you're like, okay, now I'm stuck with you. Now we're making a commitment. Now we're becoming roommates or something like that. Okay, so it can be non-romantic too. Now, if none of that resonates, then this would be a month where you're going to meet weird ass people, like astrologers or like people who are on the fringes of society. Uranus is like the freaks and the weirdos in the world, the people who don't fit into the mainstream. So you may be doing some kind of event or some kind of fun thing where you meet outsiders, right? So this could be like you know what I think of? I think of like a Renaissance fair or something like that where it's just filled with all the um filled with all the kind of different interesting people. Something like that where you're doing some kind of event or something, that could be a thing. Um okay, so there's that. Let me see what else I see in here. Jupiter is sextiling the moon, sextiling the sun. Very nice. Very nice. Jupiter does good things, right? So like this is a possibility again to like grow and trust more. Maybe one of those long timers, whatever that means to you, suddenly, I don't know, does something unexpected and you're like, "What?" Um what is Jupiter going to do here though? Jupiter in the 8th is like again, someone giving you good advice, someone giving you money, someone lending you money, getting a grant or a loan, getting a tax break or something. Um, and then sextiling the moon, sextiling the sun. Let me see here. Maybe you have something at work that happens where you can work more or it's like you get more work that gives you more money or something. Um, or or like, what else could the 8th house be? The 8th house is also like your psychic work and your ability to kind of um, psychologically process things. And so it almost makes me feel like this month there's some kind of belief system that you use to apply to your work or your day to day life that helps you feel more hopeful and happier about what you're doing. Um, Also, you might spend more of your time doing tarot readings or doing other things like that where you're, listening to your spirit guides or connecting with things that are beyond the veil. That could be a theme as well. Let's talk more about this stuff here. We have Saturn, North Node, Venus, Mercury, Neptune, all in the 5th house. It kind of just means that what you want to enjoy is going to be focused on, right? It's like focus on doing things that are going to be fun, having fun, enjoying your life. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. I see Mars trine Saturn. So the things that you're working on this month, the things you're trying to move forward, it's like whatever you're moving forward is not a quick thing that's just going to zip right, you're going to zip right into. It feels like it'll just be like trudging ahead on your goals and stuff, trudging ahead on what you want to accomplish one step at a time. And the pace is going to be like a trudge, like you'll just keep moving forward with whatever you're moving forward with. And then Venus in that fifth, enjoying yourself, enjoying pleasure. Okay, so this could be a romantic thing, but it could be a romantic thing, period. It could be you just want to do more things that you enjoy, and that's a priority that's top of mind this month because Venus in Pisces is like enjoying art, enjoying beauty, enjoying just taking in the senses. And with Neptune here, it feels like more of a vibe. So this gives me a vibe of like slam poetry, or like something else where people use words and sounds to create a vibe. Music, words and sounds is music. Yeah, like something musical, but that it has a beat or it has like I almost think of chill step music actually with the stellium, because it's like fantasy, but then there's a beat or something. But it could be something totally different. It doesn't have to be music. It can just be your focus. What you really want this month is to eat all the sweets, to listen to all the music, to go to another world, to watch fantasy movies, to do whatever you would do that represents chilling out and, you know, maybe checking out a little bit because that's what Pisces wants to do is check out. And Saturn in Pisces, this is broader and applies to everyone, but with Saturn in Pisces, sometimes authorities let us down. And so you might be with all this in the fifth house, it might be like, oh, my manager didn't come in. I'm just going to go take the day off then. It's like there's something about maybe having to step up to responsibility in one area of life, but then having a lot of enjoyment in a different area. And maybe this is just a creative flow that you're getting in this month. I love outsiders. Yeah, me too. Me too. I definitely would say I am one. And I know a lot of people on this channel would feel like, some things at least. So yeah, overall emphasis, notice how it's all this right side of the chart, right? And so it's all about other people this month, but it's interesting because it's like there's some focus on others, but there's a lot more focus on stuff that's like nobody's business. You know what I mean? Like you handling your bills, you handling your responsibilities, and then trying to enjoy what you can is kind of what it feels like. So that's what I have for you, Chantel. I hope you enjoyed your reading. And I mean, Cherie, sorry. Sorry. And I hope you enjoyed your reading. And we're going to go to the next person, which is Aman. Aman, are you here? Let me know in a comment if you are here, Aman. And it looks like we got an... Okay. So, Aman, I'm going to put you in. I don't think I have you. And Aman is choosing natal chart. Okay, so Aman, you're telling me some background here. Even though I want to be a super independent person. Okay. Okay, we will see what we can see for you. I'm just putting this in here. Okay, so maybe you're looking at, let me just see if you're looking at Placidus. Because I'm using whole signs, so. Adam, I don't think you did. You're not on here, so I'm going to say no. So just try again and see if it works. And I'm just checking this one for Iman. What am I doing? I'm trying to see if I got your time right. And then let me just switch it to Placidus. Yeah, okay. I see the 10th house planets in Placidus. They're not going to be there on this reading because I use whole sign. So just don't take that as a problem. It's totally normal. Um all right. Adam, you either book or you don't. You just go through the process. And it's not, if I don't have the notification, it's not simply, it's not there. It's just a yes or no. Either it showed up or it didn't. It like emails me immediately with a confirmation with the name that you put in. So if you keep trying, I will see it and I'll tell you. And it can be PayPal or otherwise any way that you do it. So, okay. So Iman, we have your chart and you chose natal chart. I'm getting your chart up, I swear. Yeah, that happens all the time. So there's nothing wrong there. And here we are. Okay, so we are on Iman's reading and we're going to do, I'm going to set the timer and we're going to do natal. I'm just going to do what jumps out at me. So let me see here. Yeah, okay, so Venus in the 11th with Jupiter Mars means that I'm not really going to speak much to the whole sickness thing because you've already spoken to that. And I'm going to talk about other stuff. Venus in the 11th conjunct Jupiter means that you are probably quite good at making friends or being the life of the party when you are feeling good and you're with people. There's definitely a performative desire here. So that could be just the desire to uplift people and tell them jokes or something, or like dance or want to make people happy. Definitely really strong here. And you know, Venus and Leo kind of does usually care about their appearance and the appearance of others and want to kind of look their best. That's there. Now, Mars here does it kind of stimulates this Jupiter Venus of wanting to kind of get the most out of life. That's kind of the energy I feel here, is like that desire to get the most out of life. And again, you know, I don't want to kind of only talk about the sickness thing because I feel like that'll just bring it down a bit, but I also don't want to like step over that. So everything I say about what you want to do and stuff is always going to be like when you are healthy and stuff. But yeah, it does feel like other people performing for others, being in front of other people. Did you want to be in like a play when you were a kid or something like that? Yeah, a singer. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that totally makes sense of, you know, the desire to be seen, and then the voice also with Venus and Jupiter here, just really stimulating that desire. And then what else do I see for you here? Jupiter suggests that if you were to do that, like let's say you were to make an album or a song and put it on iTunes or something. Let's just say you did that. Jupiter here suggests that you would like the building the audience or the getting the people to love you. It just would probably come really naturally, I think. Now with the midheaven in the 10th and the moon in the 12th, sometimes you could do like administrative work behind the scenes if you do work. This is something where it's so interesting because it's like you'll want to be performing and singing, but then what you'll end up doing for your job is going to be more like serious, doing spreadsheets, doing spreadsheets for a family business, or, just doing work that is more administrative or more dealing with like hospitals or healing or nutrition or any kind of administration kind of behind the scenes is what I feel like is the most likely type of field you might get into. Um, but that is what it is. The sun in the ninth is a really, really nice place for the sun because what it does is it's like the sun is the ninth house is the sun has its joy in the ninth. So it means it does really well. It helps you see the spiritual path, right? And it's like whether you're on the spiritual path is going to matter a lot to you. Mercury in the ninth is the love of learning. You would work at a library if you could to be closer to books or do a kind of job that lets you work with knowledge and information just because you love information. Um, yes, an herbalist. Very much, yeah, very much that would make sense with the moon there. Yeah, so then, Mercury Sun here is just a lot of life focus on what's the spiritual lesson here and am I on the right path? And it's like when you're asking that question, your sun is going to guide you to the answer. You're just going to be able to, kind of find that even if other things are not perfect, um, that sort of focus on the quest in life that you're going on. Let me see what else here. Venus is opposite Saturn. Okay, so when Venus and Saturn make an aspect, sometimes this will make you less open to express your feminine side, less, I don't know, what's the word? It also makes it harder in general to let life be easy. There might be a belief when you're young that life has to be hard. There might be some conditioning when you're younger, culturally or family wise, that says you're not allowed to sing. You're not allowed to do something easy. You have to do work that's hard. Life has to be hard. Now, this could show up as like just in general a little bit harder to receive. Like if someone was like, here's some money, you're going to be like, no, thank you. I don't feel comfortable. Like the lack of comfort with letting someone help you. Sometimes there's a lack of comfort, even in social situations with Venus, connected to Venus, Jupiter. So it's almost like you could go to a party and be the total life of the party the whole time and then be like, oh my gosh, was I, like maybe worry about it afterwards when you're by yourself or like maybe have a feeling like you can't just I don't know. I don't know. This isn't really connecting, even though normally Saturn Venus is like harder to let life be easy, harder to feel like you know the right thing to say. But what I feel for you is that maybe you broke through that at some point and became good at saying the right thing to say. Let me know if that makes sense to you. Yeah, several different cultures. Yeah, well, maybe there was sometimes Venus Saturn is also being kind of demure, being like not wanting to be so pretty, or like not wanting to be too like you're like this modest, humble. Like someone's like, oh, I like your shirt. And you're like, oh, I got it at Goodwill. Or like, oh, it has a hole in it. Because it's like you don't want to be too showy, but your Venus and Leo does. So it's like maybe there's some inner conflict around the topics of like love and beauty and and desire and pleasure. But it could also be like, this aspect could just as easily be a person who works on some creative thing and then puts it out to the public, because the aspect is an opposition. So you're going to go on one side and then the other. And one side of the fifth house is like the creation stage of the project. And Saturn here is like working hard outside of the circle, behind the scenes, in the shadows, away from all the people. The moon also, confirms that ability to work independently in private, work behind the scenes, do things that, sorry, I have to have some water. Okay, so doing things that, like working hard on something by yourself, and then when you're not being seen and not wanting to be seen, and then wanting to be seen after it's created. So I could see this as someone who like paints a painting and then goes to a festival and sells the painting, or something else along those lines. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. My parents were obsessed with keeping me modest, and I've been an artist since 12. I told my dad at age 4 I wanted to be a singer. He said, over my dead body. Ah. So I went through life believing I'd kill him if I became a singer, because you were only 4. Okay, so working through this aspect sounds like a really big theme in your life of the feeling that, there was that influence in your life of not wanting you to have a voice. That totally makes so much sense. Yeah. So sorry, I need more water. So what I also feel with Saturn Mars here is that because Mars is, past Venus, but still within range to be a wide opposition. And that's usually an aspect that makes the person have to endure something and have to fight for what they want. And the idea of like how life is a fight is kind of built into the chart for that person. So I almost wonder if you felt like life was a fight to have a voice. And that might be just the theme. Now, I know the timer went off, but I kind of want to find something positive for you. Because we talked about some heavy stuff. But it's like, okay, so the way your chart is, it's like a lot of the good things and the bad things, they're overlapping. So maybe your dad did that, but then your dad did a bunch of other cool stuff, where it's like there's good in the bad and bad in the good in this chart. And you can't find the good anywhere else. It's like my chart is kind of like this too in a lot of ways, where the benefics are aspecting the malefics. So it's like the worst stuff in life will happen right alongside the best stuff in life, and vice versa. So you really, with a chart like this, you really have to look for the good in the bad, because that's where, if you don't, you're going to miss the good. Right? You're going to miss the good, because other people with their malefics and benefics separated, it'll be like, here's the good and here's the bad, and they're totally independent of each other, and it's easy to identify. So that being said, there's still a lot of really good in Leo in this chart, and you have a beautiful 9th house, and even just the moon in the 12th. It's like your good things that are peaceful and easy are going to be the path to God, the path to spirituality, and it's going to be the psychological exploration of emotions. And just like when you're by yourself trying to figure out how you feel, those two energies are going to be the easy areas of life for you that are just like, there's nothing bothering these. So, and there's other easy stuff too. Like you have a lot of houses with no planets. I'm not trying to say it's only bad, but just that that is just what happens when you have Saturn and Mars touching all the good stuff. Is like you don't get the good without the bad, and it's happening all at once. Hopeful for the future. We'll end on that just because of time. You do have Jupiter about to hit your Sun and Mercury, so that's gonna be before June. It doesn't. It's not like I would think. Let's see, and this will be it. Let me think. You have homework to figure this out. And that is just think about what was happening in your life around June 5th of 2013, because that's the aspect that's coming back. Jupiter conjunct the Sun, conjunct Mercury, and also trine your ascendant. Usually it's like a chance to learn something new, or possibly let's see, maybe some new friends, or getting into a new social circle. Maybe taking a course that you really want to enjoy and study and learn about. Maybe something too with like psychology or psychic development as well. Or like going on a retreat or something that's all about getting to know yourself deeply in a private way, but also learning, teaching, those kind of things. So I'm going to stop there just because of time. And I would say I'm going to check for the next one, but right now I would like to go use the restroom. Adam, I don't see you. What are you doing? Are you using the link? Show me, show me. Because I don't see you anywhere, but I want to. So see if you can figure it out, Adam. Anyone else who wants to book, do it. There's this info about it. I'm going to go take a quick bathroom break and I will be back. And whoever books first will be the first person I read when I get back. Okay, okay. Thank you to everyone who stayed. I always love it when I take a little break and then come back and you guys are still hanging out. Um, okay, so I want to see the rest of Iman's messages. Adam, did you have any luck? I looked on my PayPal, I looked everywhere. I don't see anything. If you really are trying hard, I will help you. But let me know in a comment if you're still trying to. And it's Diana. Okay, so I'm gonna mess that up because your thing says Adam. It's fine though. I get it. Okay, so Iman is saying I was a triple major and psych was one of them. Oh, it makes so much sense. Yes. So, I don't see it though. So can you check it? Because I always get a confirmation when somebody books. And are you using the link at the top of the chat? Show me if you want to screenshot your confirmation and send it to this email, you can. But I don't think it's going through. Here's the email. All right. So, what we're doing live readings. They're on a special sale today. So, if you want to get one, today's the day to start to do one. I thought it'd be fun. It's the weekend, it's the first weekend of April. I just thought it'd be fun. So, I'm going to bring up the chart of the transits. And for anyone who maybe is just joining us, I'll tell you guys what we're up to. We are doing live readings. The chart on the screen, this could be your chart if you book one today. And what you do to book is you go to the link at the top of the chat, you fill out the info, and then that sends you an email confirmation that you have scheduled. And then my mind just went totally blank. Yeah, it sends you a confirmation and then I see it and then I do your reading. Your father was joking, wanted to name you Adam and named you Diana. Interesting. Okay, well, I don't see anything for you, so I can't do it if you're not actually booked. But if you do, then you'll see you'll see an email in your inbox that says you're confirmed. So, okay, so okay, yeah. I'm just trying to get my stuff all organized here. All right. So yeah, we are still doing live readings. There are 3 kinds of readings you can do today. You can choose natal, you can choose a reading on transits, or you can choose your lunar return. If you want to know about yourself, your patterns, what makes you you, your life themes, do natal. If you want to know what's happening now or in the near future, do transits. And if you want to know about the energy snapshot of the current 28-day cycle you're in, then in aligned with the moon, it's like your own personal moon reading for the month. Then do lunar return. And I'm going to hang out to see if anyone else is going to go ahead and book. So if you're thinking about booking, now is the time and you've been waiting or you wanted to see other people's charts or something, then now is the time. We had a bunch of people jump on earlier. It was super fun. We did some lunar returns. We did natal and we did transits. I love them all. I love them all. I would say transits is probably the most popular because you get like what's Jupiter helping you, where's Jupiter helping you grow right now and how to work with it, where's Saturn kind of slowing things down, how to work with that, when that will end, what Mars is stimulating. And since Mars is coming out of retrograde soon, it's like what area is just ready to kind of get back online and get back going forward again. And then we have like, where's Venus? What's Venus? Where's Venus making things a little bit sweeter? Where's the moon? What's the moon doing? The moon is a little bit more of a temporary thing, right? So like the moon's going to tell you about your mood. Your mood today is going to depend on what aspects the moon makes in your chart. So there's that. I'm just going to have the rest of my coffee and chill while we're looking at the transit chart. Yeah, this is the chart of now. There's a nice sextile between Jupiter and the Sun, so that's always nice. Good time to study astrology. Good time to binge watch my YouTube channel, guys. No, it's always a good time to do that. I really love how, what I love about astrology the most, really, truly, truly, is how much we have, like, how much you can understand about yourself and doing it in like that heart-centered way of, I don't need to apologize for the bad placements. I don't need to feel bad about what isn't working in my chart. I just can look at my chart, use it as a tool to know myself more deeply. Because when we know ourselves more deeply, we make better decisions. We do a better job in the world. We can help people more. We can show up better in our relationships and in our friendships and in our work. And I think understanding myself through the lens of astrology, it gives an extra feeling of like, I'm okay like this. I'm okay on this path. And it can really confirm some of the things that we do that are different than what other people want us to be doing. Because sometimes when you're honoring your unique path, it's like, what is it like? It's like you have to go it alone sometimes. Sometimes you have to do the thing that is just right for you. And it will seem fucking insane to everybody else. I moved to another country when I was 24. And I'm from such a small town, everyone thought I was fucking crazy. And it's not that big of a deal. People live overseas all the time. It's not that crazy to live in another country for a few years. It's really quite a normal thing. When I was in South Korea, there was a million other foreigners living there. Like it wasn't that out of the ordinary, but it was just outside of my concept of reality and the people I knew up until then. So it seemed crazy to them. And that's the thing about honoring your path is that if you're doing it right, at some point someone will think you're nuts. And that's a fact. Because it's like the whole Joseph Campbell's whole, statements about how the hero enters the forest where it's darkest. There's no light, there's no trail. Because if you're following a well-lit path and there's a trail, then you're not on your own unique path. If you're on your own unique path, there's going to be moments of darkness. That means you're doing it right. That means you're listening to the hero's call, and you are following your inspiration and your intuition instead of just this cookie cutter idea of what we think is supposed to make us happy. I can't tell you how many times I've done stuff that I thought was supposed to make me happy, and it's like, this is supposed to be it. So being able to kind of acknowledge where what you want is not what the world might think you need or the people around you think is right for you. And astrology can be a very good tool to tap into those unique energies for each person and how they are totally different. Your chart doesn't depend on society. It's your chart. You know what I mean? Okay, so I don't really want to ramble for 3 hours. I want to just open it up for anyone else who wants to book now. And then hopefully a few more people book and we can keep going. So let's go ahead. I think now is a good time to just show everyone how to do it here. So what you do is you'll be on a page kind of like this, right? So this is the channel and there's a link at the top. So even if you're on mobile, this link is here. And then you just click book. Don't worry about what time it is. It's going to be the future because if I put it for right now, then the next minute it goes away because the system thinks the class has already started. You'll click that book button and it's going to show you this. So it gives you the $25 that's less today. So it's special today. And it tells you what you're getting and then lets you fill out all your info. And then it tells you can choose one of these: transits, natal, or lunar return. You can also book more than one. So if you're watching and you already got one and you got your natal but you want transits or something, or you got transits but you want to know about the next transit that I didn't cover yet, then feel free to book again if you want to. And then this is where you're going to fill out your birth info so I can pull your chart. And then I understand astrology readings are for entertainment purposes only and there are no refunds. Yes. You have to click yes. And then this is where you choose which type of chart you want. And then you click continue to payment. I'm not going to do that because I didn't fill all this out, but that'll take you to the next page where you can do your payment info. And you can do PayPal or you can do your card. You know, it takes cards. So that is how you do it. So let me get back to our little chart. Which is here. This is our little chart of the moment. I might do a live tomorrow on Mercury going direct because Mercury goes direct on, it's soon, it's like in a couple days, I think, right? Because today's the 5th, 6th, 7th. Yeah, Monday. Mercury goes direct on Monday, guys, which I know some people aren't even into Mercury, but Mercury is something to be like, don't even sleep on Mercury. Mercury is so much deeper, I think, than I gave Mercury credit for. It really is, because it's like, Mercury is like in traditional astrology. I don't know. I think it's easy to get caught up in, like, I don't know, the outer planets like Neptune and Uranus and Pluto and the transformational psychological aspect of astrology that we're all kind of obsessed with now. But like the traditional planets are not, like, how do I put it? Back before people knew Neptune and Pluto and Uranus existed, the traditional planets described all of the things that those outer planets represent because new parts of life didn't come into being. Maybe electronics and stuff, but other than that, you know, Mercury covers a lot of things, including astrology and the occult and all of the spiritual, deeper not philosophies, but like knowledge. That's Mercury. It's not Jupiter. Jupiter is the beliefs. Jupiter is the teachers and the preachers and the meaningful things and teaching anything. But Mercury is actually covering those spiritual topics. And I think that's a misconception. So, I mean, if you want to get into your spirituality and you don't know what planet, it's actually Mercury. I know you're not going to think of that first, probably. I mean, I wouldn't have in the past, but Mercury really does rule all that stuff, and healing as well. Mercury. Instruments, Mercury. Mercury's fucking cool. So like Mercury going retrograde, Mercury going direct, we don't have to demonize these things. But the point to use astrology to me isn't just like Mercury means this, end of story. It's actually more about becoming someone who can observe what Mercury does for them and then see what it does for you. See what houses Mercury rules in your chart. See what happens in those areas of life whenever Mercury is retrograde, and see what happens during the Kazemi. This is something people don't know, but during that Mercury retrograde, at some point, and let's go back to this moment right now since I'm talking about it. At some point, when Mercury hits that Kazemi, this would have been around the 24th of March. That's when you have a little moment of clarity about something. Maybe you realize something about whatever Mercury rules in your chart. So if you're a Virgo or a Gemini rising, it's about your life. But let's say you have Mercury on the 9th, you have Virgo on the 9th. You're a Capricorn rising. Well, then that's going to be that's going to be a very spiritual experience of understanding and knowing something, an illumination about your spiritual path. Let's say you have Virgo or Gemini on your 11th house. You're going to realize something about your friends. And sometimes the Kazemi is actually something happening to another person in your life represented by that house that it's in. So this is why you got to observe what happens in your life to really understand astrology. Okay, so I'm going to call last call for readings here. You have 6 minutes. I'm going to ramble for 6 more minutes. As this is the last call. If you are just jumping on or you've been on and you're like, I really want to get a reading today, this is your moment. You have 6 minutes. The actual schedule is going to automatically, the bookings will automatically not be available at 3 p.m. So that's 6 minutes from now, 3 p.m. my time. So if you want to get a reading, you have 6 minutes, and I'm just going to hang out and drink coffee just in case there's one little straggler, one person who maybe was working earlier or couldn't get to it, who really wanted a reading today. And I'm going to have the rest of this wonderful caffeinated beverage, which I've been drinking too much coffee lately, guys. Do you guys get into phases where it's like you need 2 coffees a day? Like me? Or is it just me? Do you guys do this thing where you have shots of espresso and you just keep getting more shots? And then pretty soon you have a 6-shot latte and the barista's asking you how you got to that point? Or is it just me? Because that actually happened. Someone was like, how does it get, did you just work your way up to this? I'm like, yeah, that's when you know you have a problem, when even the coffee place is asking you those questions. Let's see, did we get one? Oh, someone booked. Cool. What I'm going to do, Nicole, is I see you. I want to extend it because it's going to shut off automatically at 3. So I want to kind of extend that so that if someone else is watching, they can still book while I'm doing your reading. So I'll move it to 3:15 so more people can do it. That'll give me enough time to finish yours. And I won't have to think about it during that 7 minutes. And then let me just make sure that link's still working. And then Nicole, I'll get you in. You'll be next. These are so fun. I was hoping we'd have a lot of people come today just because I thought it'd be nice to have that discount and just bring the energy. Nicole, do you want to drop a comment? I'm going to put your chart in, or at least see if I have it here. And then we'll be doing your reading. Let me see if I have you. Maybe I do. No, that's a different Nicole. I have a lot of Nicoles. I'm going to add you. That's okay. Nicole is a good name. Just putting your chart in. Do, 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 do. It's not you, a friend. Who's the friend? Did you book for your friend? I need more information here. Okay, what were you wanting to know about this? I'm not always, I don't usually do friends charts just because it's like there's an ethical thing. Even if she's not here anymore with like the permission and stuff, and especially because this is like public. How would you feel, Nicole, about doing something in your chart instead? Would you be open to that? And I'm sorry about your friend. I'm just going to wait for the response. I know sometimes there's a delay, so that may take a moment. That's fine. If you were thinking about it, because sometimes people want to see, it's like there's something therapeutic about kind of looking at that. You can still either do another transit, you can do another transit, or we could actually, if you're wanting to kind of know about this event, we can look at your chart of what happened at that time. If your reason for booking the reading was to kind of see, like, just to understand the energies, or that kind of thing, we can do that. But I have never done a chart of someone who I wouldn't want to do that publicly, because I would just be kind of, it's a little out of my wheelhouse, to be honest. Even just the topic of death is a little out of my wheelhouse. What I have done, though, and I do in reading sometimes, is when someone pass away who was really significant to their life, we'll look at the transits of when that event happened in their chart and see what was being activated, and just look at what was happening and what it means. And that's just like as far as I go with that. So you can do that. We can do that at the event if you know when she passed away. or we can do a current transit reading, just that's like an update, energy update of what's upcoming. So let me know if you want to do one of those. I'm just going to hang out and see. I'm actually going to put this back up for anyone else jumping on. We're going to do that. But I'm kind of just waiting for your answers, Nicole, which is fine. I know it takes a minute. Kelly, you're going to be next. I want to figure out what Nicole wants to do before we go there, but you'll be next, Kelly. So thank you for booking. And anyone else who books in the next 15 minutes will get their reading today. Okay, so I do want to hear what Nicole has to say, and I also have to pee again. So I'm going to take a bathroom break. We will do Nicole, whatever we decide, and then we'll do Kelly, and then anyone who books after that. The readings are 7 minutes each. Will get their reading today, and we'll just go in order. So I'm going to. So you can either choose natal, you can choose transits. I mean, you can't, I'm sorry, but you can't do a chart of a person who passed away. Like, that's not one of the options. So since you booked it, you need to pick one of the three. So you can do natal, you can do transits, or you can do your lunar return. So I'm going to let you think about that and then answer. And I'm going to go use the restroom and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for everyone who waited. All right. So, Nicole, the only thing to do here would be to choose natal, transits, or lunar return. So those are your options. And we're just going to go on to Kelly because Kelly's ready and I don't want to hold her up any longer. So thank you so much for waiting, Kelly. And we're going to go to your reading. Let me start by seeing if I have you in here. And if not, I will just add you. Is this your first one? I'm going to put you in here. And I'm just going to do your last initial because it's going to show up on the screen. And you asked for natal, so we're going to look at your chart. There we go. Perfect, Kelly. I'm just getting everything ready here on my side. Oh, which is I have to do a little thing here really quick. And then once we get your chart up on the screen, I'll set that timer for 7 minutes and then we'll go from there. All right, okay. Thank you for waiting on that. Okay, Kelly, I'm almost ready. I'm pulling your chart up here. It's going to be there. And for anyone else, there's about, 7 minutes to book if you want to get in today. And you can only do the options that are listed. All right. Okay, so let me set our timer for you, Kelly. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you what I see that stands out the most about your chart. I mean, this is definitely the chart of a spiritual seeker because you have your planet that rules you, which is Jupiter, in your 9th house of the spiritual path, God, religion, beliefs, all that good stuff. Also travel, philosophy, other languages. Venus is here too, which means when you realize something along the spiritual side of things, when you have those spiritual awarenesses and those philosophical awarenesses, they're going to build on each other and build on each other. And every time is going to be like a new level of enjoyment. So that's really kind of a fun thing about having Venus in the 9th. Also, Jupiter does make a trine to Saturn. So that's like, it kind of means maybe you had a desire to travel when you were younger, but you couldn't leave yet. Or, maybe you wanted to get into spiritual philosophy and stuff, but you couldn't check out the books at school when you were a teenager, or other things like that that symbolize the desire for a spiritual path and a meaningful path, but some things in life that maybe made it slower or start to begin later in life. That is what Saturn will do to it. Now, Saturn is trining you, right? You're Jupiter, which means your life maybe has gotten better after the age of around 36 or so. And the reason is Saturn kind of withholds some of the good things. It doesn't withhold all the good things, okay? But like the work that you do when you're younger, when you have Saturn connected to your ruling planet, you don't get the payoff until you're older, if that makes sense. And so when you get older, you get more of the payoff of like what you've worked hard for. So it just kind of guarantees that life has the potential to get better when you're older. Okay. You can enjoy life more. You can loosen up a little, not be so strict. Sometimes when Saturn connects to your ruling planet, it's like you had to follow strict rules or be very disciplined when you were younger. And by younger, I mean like under 40. Because that's when Saturn loosens its grip. And Saturn's grip on you personally is kind of on your whole life. So sometimes when you're young, you just don't get what you want when you have Saturn here, or you have to work really, really hard for things. They come slower, and that's okay. Now, Sun in the 8th is calling to me because the Sun is really interesting when we put it when it's in the 8th house. We don't put it there, but it's there. So the Sun in the 8th is like you shine when you're in a connection with another person. what that usually looks like for the person with the sun sign or sun house, I should say, is that they don't always get credit for their own work. Sometimes the way that the place that you shine the most is where you're influencing someone else and they'll go on to have something happen. But unless they go out of their way to give you the credit, like you're not getting it, like that's the thing about that one. Um Although there's a real beauty with Sun in the eighth because you can mesh souls with people. And sometimes when you meet people, when you have the Sun in the eighth, they might feel like they've sort of this ability to kind of someone where they feel like they've known you for a long time or they feel like they can trust you right away. You can just have these instant connections. So that's a really beautiful thing too. Also, Sag rising in general, I love my Sag risings. And every time I see a Sag rising, they're always on their way to go somewhere. There's always some adventure they're planning. There's a yoga class they're on their way to, or they're about to take a trip for work, or they're about to go, like, every Sag rising I've ever met is about to go do some really cool shit. So there's that feeling of like life is an adventure to be lived, to be traveled, to be explored, to be experienced. And with Jupiter in that ninth house, that intensifies that and really like doubles up on that energy of life is an adventure to be explored. But again, it's like maybe when you were younger, you didn't get to go on the adventure, you just got to learn about it or something like that. Now, let me see what else is just jumping out here. Oh, you have Moon square Uranus. This will be a good one to talk about because people with the Uranus square their moon tend to have a disconnection from a family member or a caretaker or someone significant to their emotions when they're young. Maybe they learn that sometimes there is a let me rephrase this. Sometimes you don't necessarily fit into your own family. You can feel like you're different from them or something, like when you're younger. And then as you get older, you find that you're the different one in every situation. So if you're a makeup artist, you're the makeup artist that loves astrology. If you're an astrologer, you're the astrologer who does makeup. It's like you're going to always be the different one in the group. And it's cool. That's a cool thing. You can also love people from afar when you have Moon Uranus. Like you can meet people and make friends with them and then find that you stay connected over a distance with people, or that you have a lot of people, a lot of people in different places. You can find that the way that you just are with people in general is that you're going to connect, disconnect. So it could be like, oh, yeah, you have your friend in New York that you go see every year during a thing that you do in New York, or other things like that, where it's like, you're not always going to stay connected to someone forever. You're just going to pop in and then pop out of people's lives. And sometimes you'll have more friends far away, or you'll be away from family for a certain amount of time in your life or something like that. Other things with Moon Uranus is that you can love the freaks and weirdos and misfits of the world, right? You can have this sort of universal love. Sometimes Moon Uranus gives you a dose at some point in your life of conditional love, or of people who were supposed to love you not being there. Again, that lack of caretaker energy, or that feeling of like not always getting your needs met, having an experience of life where you didn't get taken care of in the best way or something like that. Okay. So then what happens is you want to take care of all the people, and you really usually have a heart for those people who maybe don't fit into their family or country, or they're speak another language, or they're just different, those different souls. You can really love those people. Let me know if any of this is making sense, Kelly. I always love hearing how it resonates. Now, for you, the moon rules your eighth house. Okay, so that could be sudden experiences related to the eighth house, can be other people's money. So, like if you are married or were married, especially if you rely on the support of the partner, there could have been one big kind of crisis in your life where they lost their job or something and that was a really big deal, but it would affect not just your money, but like somebody else's money that you relied on suddenly not being available when you thought it was going to be. There could have been an emotional shock as well because Moon Uranus rules emotional shocks. We all have emotional shocks sometimes, but when you have Moon Uranus in your chart, that is kind of built into early life. And when it gets aspected, it's going to be, that's going to happen. Now, another thing too with this moon is if you're upset, you're going to want to be alone usually. And there is a strong desire for freedom and there's a strong independent streak because the planet of the moon, which is like the neediest planet in your chart, is like, no, we're going to be on our own here. And so it can also be, it doesn't have to be like your life is so sad kind of a thing. I'm not trying to paint that picture. It's more like you deal with stuff by yourself. You deal with stuff independently. And you deal with stuff independently, but then you also want closeness with your really close people. And I would guess, Kelly, that you probably prefer to have that really deep emotional closeness only with your very closest people. But then the rest of the people you can just connect with on, like normal things that are a little bit at a distance. Okay, so the timer went off, but I want to see if there's something a little bit more upbeat here we can end on. Um, Let me see. Let me think here. Ooh, Venus Neptune square. Okay. This one's actually really nice. Neptune in aspect to Venus is really nice because they both agree. Even though it's a square, they both agree on a few things. Okay. They both agree on ease and they both agree on just life should be an expression. Life should be easy. Life should be a wandering path. And so when you have Venus Neptune, sometimes this can be like something like makeup or something like artistry or something like it can have to do with friendships as well, where you meet friends really easily because there's that sort of ease built into friendships. And it looks like you probably meet friends, make friends with people from like overseas or even for people who are just kind of out while you're like exploring and doing your adventuring in life. You'll just meet people pretty easily. And Neptune Venus, I think of like a scene, like a vibe, like a scene. So this could be you like perfume and you like mixing them, or it could be like some kind of visual art you enjoy, especially with Venus and Leo, just really the love of art and beauty, or design, and just like aesthetically pleasing things. But again, Neptune's going to describe your friends a little bit. So yeah, friends with the outsiders, and then Venus being like friends who are really easygoing. But then sometimes when you're friends with someone, sometimes maybe they'll just kind of drift away and then maybe drift back and have that sort of vibe. Neptune also is going to describe that square is going to affect your 6th house and also your 11th house. So again, the people you meet, maybe you meet people who are designers or who are artists or who are like smoking weed or who are spiritual and just like have done ayahuasca and are like, let me tap into my heart, man, and like live in Sedona and shit. I lived in Sedona. But that's another story. The point is not about that at all. The point is that Neptune, that easy influence is going to be built into your friends, even though Mars is here. So it's like you might have friends who are like athletic, but they also are super easygoing. And you also might have you might go to groups of things that are group related. You may find that you again, you just kind of like fade into them and then fade out to them. Or maybe at some point in life you did events like Burning Man or other like group events that were about either getting out of touch with reality in some way, or even like hypnotherapy, where you're trying to go to this other place and like Neptune kind of slip into that subconscious state of mind. So I think that'll be a good place to stop. And I'm seeing um, from Kelly. Let me just see these comments here. I do have friends all over, reconnected with college friends after years. At the point where I thought I was happiest in my marriage, he told me he wanted a divorce. Okay, that's the emotional shock. Usually there's at least one of those where it's like you don't see it coming. That's the thing about, and I don't like to predict that unless the person has already said that, because I don't want you thinking everything has to be that way. But usually there is something like that. And sometimes it's like, I don't know, also humiliating or something, sometimes there's just like this extra not fun aspect of that because of the unexpected nature of it. And the moon, needs security. So things that you need security in will have a break or something. Yes, I've always been pretty independent. Yeah, my closest friends are creative in some way. Yeah. So that's all making sense. All right, Kelly, I hope that this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we covered enough like serious stuff and then enough like not so heavy stuff, hopefully. um, and that it was helpful and insightful for you. So I'm going to um, hold on a second. I saw a message here. Okay, Diana. Yeah, it shows your payment could not be processed. That's what you just sent me. So, and yeah, the I did close the booking, but I don't think anyone was against it. It's just that the one you just sent me um that happened at when was this? 3:22. I had set it to 3:15. So I just had it end at that time. So it's not like I didn't want you to book or something, you know what I mean? So Nicole, what are you going to do? Because you picked natal chart. Transit. Okay, cool. I just saw that message. Um, and I think I have you in here, Nicole. Let me look. I'm pretty sure I saw it in there when I was putting in, and I was like, how do I have two Nicole with that same last name? Now I know. Yeah, I have you. So I'm actually gonna delete your comment with your birth date because I don't like those on there for reasons. But I got you, and I saw it. Okay. Is there anyone else who wants to book who can't? Do I need to extend the readings at all? Nicole, I'm going to pull up your. Okay, you want to do transits for November? Is that because is that when your friend passed away, or is that something else? I just want to know so we're on the right page here. Okay. Because I'm going to approach that very differently than, if it was a different reason. Okay, so we're going to do that. Let me pull that up. I think I will go ahead and extend again. So that means, Diana, if you really wanted to book today, you still can. But you don't have to. Don't feel like I'm pressuring you or something. But I like to have it open while I'm still reading, because then sometimes people just jump on and it's like they didn't know 2 hours ago or something. Okay, let me see. Yeah, go ahead and try again. I'm sorry that was stressful for you. No, something else? You can't do this. I'm going to refund you because you're just making this so hard. You can't just do like whatever you want. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to refund you because I feel like you're really not respecting my time today. And that makes me mad. But I have extended the booking for anyone else who wants to. One second, you guys. So, Nicole, normally in this case, I would actually block the person. I'm not going to block you, but this can't happen again. Okay, that might take a few days, it says. Yeah, it's not a misunderstanding. Honestly, Nicole, at this point, I'm irritated because you don't get time to decide when you have three options on the booking page and when we're live. That's not what you get. So I am gonna go ahead and I think and block you because I don't work with clients who do this. And what I mean by block is that you won't be able to book with me again. You can still watch the channel. Okay. Sarah is next. Okay, so I have extended the booking. So if anyone jumping on wants to get in, they can. Diana, if you still want to try, you're more than welcome to. I hope it works out. And if it doesn't, then we are going to trust that the universe did not have it in mind. And we're just going to move on. So, Sarah, yeah, Nicole, you're done. You've been refunded. You've gotten blocked. And now you're going to be blocked from the channel. You can still reach out to me if you don't get your refund in a couple days, but you are not welcome here. Okay. So let me get. Sorry, you guys, but like I have to have boundaries. Okay, Sarah, let me see if I have you in here. I don't think so, so I'm going to add you, which is fine. And And you asked for transits. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to do. I'm just putting you in here. All right. You chose transits, Sarah, so I'm doing transits. And let me just delete some of these. Okay, those are deleted. But 1 second. I just don't have tolerance for that stuff. All right, let me see if I can delete these. Yay, okay, I figured it out. Oh, Kelly, I'm just seeing this comment. No, this one. That's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Sometimes eclipses will do crazy shit. Okay, so then Sarah, are you here? Do you want to say hello in the chat? I'm going to put up your chart. I'm sorry, Sarah, that your booking is kind of surrounded with some of that weirdness, but it's just we're clear of that now. Okay. So we have Sarah and we have transits. I'm going to set the timer. Feel free to chat in the chat if you want. And what do we have? Well, Mars on the descendant. Now, if you're in a relationship, sometimes this is when you'll bicker with your partner. And if you're not in a relationship, sometimes this is when other people are going to just bicker at you a little bit more. They'll be more combative. They'll be more demanding. Okay. It doesn't have to be so bad, but people can be a little bit more demanding. So I'll give you a timing for how long this might last. I'm looking at maybe in a week, it'll get strong. And then in 2 weeks, we're looking at it being sort of, it's actually going to keep going just for a different reason. So I'm looking at by next month. This does not mean your whole month has to be bad, okay? Because like there's good things about Mars, like getting up and doing stuff and working out, and it can show up in that way. So if you have a significant other, then maybe they're going to be more athletic, and they're just going to be more focused and more like on a good diet or eat more meat or something. And then, so that can be happening too. Mars isn't always the worst. It just kind of depends on the person. Okay, Sarah's here. Perfect. And then what else do I see? Let's look for a positive thing. So Jupiter in the 6th might be helping you to enjoy your time to solve problems. Okay, so the thing about Jupiter in the 6th is that it kind of can feel like you don't see it when it's there because Jupiter's goodness gets used up, sort of like solving the day-to-day problems, such as how you're going to pay your rent, where are you going to get your supplements, what is going to be the most healthy thing to eat, how are you spending your time, and with Jupiter in the 6th especially, it's shiny. You can want to do a bunch of things with your time and end up distractible, right? So it's like that's the thing to watch out for. But Jupiter might be just actively helping you to pay your bills on time, or not saying you need that, but just all of the day-to-day problems. If you have a broken window, if you need to get your car fixed, whatever like day-to-day stuff has to be dealt with, Jupiter's kind of busy dealing with that stuff. So the best way to use this transit is to know that and to just let Jupiter help you solve your everyday problems. Where to take your stuff to Goodwill, what's the best thing to clean your house with, whatever you're working on. And you may find that your energy is like when you're doing those things, you might feel refreshed or uplifted. You also may find, because Jupiter rules your 12th house of psychology, that during this transit, which is like since last June, maybe there's been a focus on bringing your spiritual principles into your day to day life, and like applying them. So if you believe in cultivating peace, for example, then maybe you're trying to be really peaceful when you eat your food, or like if you do Reiki, maybe you're sending Reiki to your food, or things like that, where you're bringing the spiritual thing into your day to day schedule and routine. This could be praying every day, meditating every day, reading your spiritual literature every day, stuff like that. Nothing wrong there. Jupiter's going to go into Cancer in June. So, if you want to make the most of that, for most people, it's going to be a good year, Jupiter wise, but still, just knowing that's when that transit ends. So, what else do I see for transits for Sarah? Everything's right here right now. Uranus hit your IC. Did you just move? Did you just move in the beginning of March, or find out you had to move, or decide to move? If yes, that would be right on track with that transit. Also, Saturn is right now opposite Uranus. So if you at all feel right now, oh, and it's your Saturn return. Wait a minute. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Saturn returns don't always have to be horrible, especially the second one. Okay. Because you've had that 30-year cycle to reflect on the first Saturn return and kind of fix what you wanted to fix and change what you wanted to change. If you're feeling at all like your focus lately has been on how you've achieved your goals, how you have or haven't measured up to what you wanted to do in life, how you want to spend the rest of your time here on Earth, all those really serious things that Saturn rules, even if you've been thinking about people who passed away and like, people who passed away and how important they were to you, and if you miss them and stuff. Sometimes too, you'll have serious thoughts about what happened in life that you wish didn't, It's just a time of reconciling, okay? And what I found with people who go through this second Saturn return is that they have a peacefulness about them after this. So if you're feeling called to those topics and you're like, why am I so down? It's normal. And the way to work with Saturn is just to let it be okay to think about it. Let it be okay to think about how you're going to resolve the fact that you didn't get X, Y, or Z in this lifetime, whatever those things are. Okay, so you also have, major discussion about moving. That would make total sense. That Uranus transit would kind of bring up that topic, and that it could lead to moving for sure. Now, what else? Saturn is opposite Uranus right now. So Uranus is like where we want to be free and change. Is the serious discussion by chance about moving overseas? If yes, it would make sense that this is the time to be doing the planning and the thinking about what it would look like. It probably wouldn't be the time where you can make a sudden move. If it's not about that, forget I said that. But it does feel like, regardless, Saturn opposite Uranus will take your need for freedom and make you feel stuck kind of momentarily. It'll make you feel like you can't fully, spend the time learning the spiritual things you want to learn. Like maybe you do some kind of energy work that's like electric or something, or like not electric, but has sort of a charge to it. If that's true, it's possible while Saturn's here, it's harder for you to feel connected or something. Let me know if that makes any sense, Sarah. Either way, Saturn in the third, opposite Uranus in the ninth, will also make you want to study a more serious topic, get into the deeper, more thick books around something you're interested in. It might spark some desire. But with Saturn here, it doesn't feel like this isn't like a Uranus transit where you're like, I'm going to leave my relationship and move to another country. It's more like, how are we stabilizing our desire to be free? What steps are we taking in the material world? What commitments are we making to allow that inner child to explore, to provide the space to be free to go visit the other countries or something? Local move. Okay, cool. Um, then what else do I see here? The timer went off, but I want to go a little bit further here. Um, okay, so sorry, I had to think about what I was going to say next. Mars in the seventh, sometimes you're bickering with your partner, and it might not be total bickering. It might just be like the topic about moving, where you're like, no, I want to go over here, and they're like, no, I want to go there. We got to go there, and so there's topics to be bickered about. You know what I mean? There's topics to disagree about, and that's totally 1000% normal when Mars goes through the seventh house. But this one's been special, right? Because Mars retrograded back into Cancer. So we're gonna see. Oh shoot, I'm on last month here. It's okay. Everything I said is still true, but right now, that feeling of okay, we're talking about this. We're going through these arguments, or we're like, I don't know. Maybe we're disagreeing. Maybe they're pushing back a little bit, or other people in general maybe are pushing back a little bit or arguing or something. This is gonna pass. I said that, didn't I? Shoot. Didn't I start with that? I'm sorry. I'm gonna go a few more minutes because I totally started with that. Maybe there's something else here that Mars is doing, like stimulating. Mars can stimulate things. So when Mars stimulates the descendant, again, it's like your partner wants to work out with you. Maybe they're more frisky. Maybe you are too, right? Because Mars is here, just like I wanna work out, or I want to go do something, right? So today in particular, if you're feeling at all impatient or antsy, that would make sense. I would say the Saturn opposite Uranus would be one that would cause a little bit of antsy feelings. And that's going to be moving on like a lot by June, end of May, when Saturn enters the fourth house. It'll come back, but I do think, I do think sorry. Yeah, I do think it'll be a good break from that, is what I was trying to say. Let me see what else, because I went over that Mars twice. It's just in a very like important place. And yeah, see Mars, Uranus making this aspect of like, yeah, the relationship. Is this like a big discussion that's like the relationship is hinging on it? You said it's a major discussion. Yeah. So that tension is what I'm feeling between where you're living and that sudden desire to change, and then what the relationship is wanting to do. I do think that mid-April, there's still going to be Mars stuff happening, but that tension, that almost explosive tension I'm feeling, and it doesn't mean you guys are explosive, but maybe the topic is explosive. Maybe the topic is really emotionally charged. Some of that emotional charge might be released by the 19th of April. And what else? There's got to be something else. You know, the sun in the fourth house can make you want to stay home, can make you want to be home more. And it's right now opposite your natal sun. So that's going to highlight your desire. And that's been the last couple days. Your desire to kind of consider the different options of where you want your life direction to go. Yeah. And then let me see what else for the sun. Yeah. And again, bringing up topics related to sharing resources, right? Eighth house topics are like, who's paying for what? What are you paying for? What am I paying for? So those topics are just really top of mind yesterday, the day before, even today. But I think that's going to also settle down a bit as the sun just keeps going. So, that also I see settling down. What else do I see here? Venus is on Saturn right now and is about to, is it gonna, let's see, does it retrograde that far back? I think so. Yeah. So Venus will be retrograded to conjunct your natal Saturn April 8th. So in a few days. So that's going to ease up on, sorry, it might ease up on um, restrictions with your time if you have them. Like if your schedule's really like blocked off right now where you've got this at this time and this at this time, it might soften those edges. You might be more willing to change your schedule at that time. But this might also be whatever you're learning right now is like, or maybe it'll make it easier to have conversations, right? Because and it might not be, this could be more of the same, right? Where this Mars approaching the descendant is just the fact that you and your partner may not be agreeing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Looking at exercise equipment. See, yeah. See, I really want to do that. And yes, it's a major issue, lots of tension. I'm at a crossroads right now. I spent my last 12 or so years being a caregiver that is coming to an end. I'm arguing with my male cousin concerning our family home. As for working out, I was just on Amazon. Okay. Yes, yes, on resources. That is what's happening. Yeah. Okay. 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 So then I do see a little bit of a positive thing amongst all of this, right? Happening around the 8th. Now, this may not be everything's better, but maybe something with the cousin becomes easier to discuss. Okay, why? Because third house rules cousins. You got Saturn in the third, which means they're going to give you trouble. Cousins, aunts, uncles, or siblings, one of those people are going to be a burden to you at some point. Or, just make life a little bit harder, right? And that can be something simple. Like they always come over to my house and they don't do their fucking dishes. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that they're in jail or something, but that they're adding burdens. Um, and Saturn's here saying we got to deal with this. We can't avoid this right now. So while Saturn is in this third house, it'll still be present to be dealt with. And what you said about the caregiver thing, I just want to say it's not uncommon for people to change their careers during a Saturn return. It's like if your life goal isn't working, you're going to feel it. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to or you don't have to. It just means you're going to feel that. You're going to be very aware of that energy and consider, how do I want to spend the rest of my life, and make choices accordingly. Okay. So we're going to stop there just because of time. But I do see the stress and the tension going on here. And it's not going to be forever. Okay. Mars is going to move out of that descendant. It'll hit the moon Jupiter. So it'll still do something. And then it's going to, as it passes, it's not going to be quite so tender where it's hitting. And then Saturn's going to move too, and then Venus will go direct. I want to see when Venus is direct, because I think that's going to affect this situation, the cousin situation. So let's look at the date. Doesn't mean everything will be perfect by this day, but you might pay attention to what happens. April 12th or 13th related to cousin and challenges, and even maybe the caretaking thing and like long-term things. Maybe I think the 13th of April might be a better time to start trying to make positive plans. You might just be, I'm not saying don't now if you need to, but just you might find that Venus going direct on top of your natal Saturn helps a teeny bit in figuring out what the good side is, what can be done here, what is possible for the future. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because of time. But yeah, I do see some of the frustration. Yeah, okay, this hit on all my issues. Okay, yeah, I saw them loud and clear. They're right there, and it doesn't, this isn't a forever thing. Sometimes when things hit our chart, it's like the same thing gets hit again, and so we sometimes feel like it's happening again. So I know how that is. Trust me, I know. Okay. Okay, so the bookings are open right now. So thank you, Sarah, for booking. And if anyone wants to book, this is going to be the real last call. It's almost 4. I've been here for a few hours now, which has been wonderful. And um, I want to do some other stuff with my day. It's still sunny outside. But I do want you guys to have a few more minutes. So anyone else who books between now and 4, that's about 8 minutes from now, will get their reading today. So go ahead and click the link at the top of the chat to book yours if you would like to. You can choose natal, transits, or lunar return. The transits are the transits of the current moment and the upcoming time. No special requests, no other people's charts or anything like that. Now, you're not stressing me, Adam. I mean, Diana, I'm never going to get that right. You're not stressing me. Um, yeah, I mean, it's okay. Sometimes things happen. I'm glad you're studying on your own. I have lots of readings. I have lots of charts you can watch. So I hope that's helpful. And yeah, anyone else who wants to book, again, there's natal, transits, or lunar return. Natal's going to be all about you. Transits is going to be the current moment. Lunar return is going to be the 28-day cycle and the energetic themes. That's how you know it's not meant to be if you try 15 times and it doesn't work. You know what I mean? That's how you know. If you just tried once, I'm not saying you anymore. I'm just saying us in general, you know. Sometimes we try something one time and we're not even ready and we're like, it's not meant to be. You tried, you did your due diligence, Diana. Okay, so I'm just gonna count down a few more minutes until that and make sure the booking works. So it is the last 5 minutes to get today's special price, $10 off of the live readings. And anyone who books in the next 5 minutes, they'll just go and order. So if a bunch of you come on and want a last minute reading, you can get it. If anyone's watching who already booked today, you can do a second one. If you do a second transit, though, we're going to maybe talk about a little bit further in the future or just whatever I didn't cover yet. And then, yeah, that's what we're doing. So, yay. Yeah. So, anyone jumping on right now, this is the last call. Oh, I got to put this thing up. It is the last call, 4 minutes to book your reading. If you're jumping on and you want to get one right this second, you totally can. And if we don't get any bookings in the next few minutes, we're going to be done for the day. And do know that today is, I don't plan on doing another one like this with the $10 off. It was just like a special thing. I just felt kind of inspired today to do it. And, I thought it would just bring up some energy and get lots of bookings, and it did. So that's cool. But I can't be doing that all the time or else it won't do that. It won't have that effect. So, yeah, so you can do natal, transits, or lunar return. And if you already did one, you are allowed to do another one as long as it's on one of those topics. I'm I've said this before, but I always think it's fun to share. This whole year, I was working with different planets. And one of the planets I worked with was Venus. And one of the things that came out of working with Venus was this hair, because you guys, I am an old woman now. I'm not young anymore. And I just learned last summer, that my hair is wavy. And I didn't know that. I thought my hair was straight. So that's one little thing that I just think is it's little, but it's like, it makes my life so much easier that I don't actually have to really do my hair anymore. And most days it looks fine. And it's just like, I wish my life was easier like that when I was younger. I really do. Life would have been so much better if I just didn't have to blow dry and straighten my hair every single fucking day. But obviously, I'm not complaining really, Obviously, I have perspective. But it's just so funny how working with the planets can be such a literal thing. Sometimes the way they express is so literal, and it's so like, that's why I love astrology, is it makes life feel kind of magical. It makes life feel kind of like there is some kind of design here. And what else I love about it? And someone touched on this last night. Anuradha did. We talked about this, about how simulation theory kind of separates us from our humanity, because it makes us project the lack of organic connection. If life is a simulation, we don't need morals. We don't need ethics. None of it matters. We just go out and get whatever we want, right? If life is a simulation, it makes sense to meditate on having a Ferrari instead of on like being a decent person or creating a virtue that your soul gets to keep. So that was such a fun convo about how that's why I love astrology as a cosmology, is because the planets are like representations of the greater cosmic force of good, or God, if you will. And yet we can actually connect everything in life to God if we understand the planets. That's why I love it. The planets are like a connection. There's connection behind it. They're represented by actual like gods and goddesses. So I think that's a good note to end it on, since our timer did end. So I want to say thank you to everyone who booked today. Thank you to those of you who chatted today, and those of you who show up to these, and maybe you don't have money or maybe you don't want to book right now, but you still show up. Those of you who show up and watch the videos, those of you who send me super chats or like videos, subscribe to the channel, respond to my emails, join my email list. Thank you for everything you guys do, because you guys make this thing grow one day at a time. So thank you so much. I enjoy doing these readings, and I hope you guys have a